When the sun goes down, that's right. It's time for Sports Hour.
The quarterback that beat the Kansas City. Oh, no, it's actually Sarah.
The flip was switched and the lights came on.
The lights were on.
Hey, Sarah, go long.
Wait, Trevor, I play football. Go first!
Guys, I just want to talk about golf this year. That's all I want.
Guys, I just want the Sabres to be good this year.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Sports Hour. I'm your host, Trevor Howard. With me is AFC analyst for the week, Brock. Brock, how's it going, man?
It's been one heck of a week. I'm gonna tell you that much. We got games from the Colts, the Bills, and the Chargers somehow, and it's one heck of a game to talk about.
Yeah, I think for the AFC, there weren't a lot of games this week, but definitely some games to talk about because I think a bunch of the teams were on a bye, both in the NFC and in the AFC. But we can talk right now about the Bills and the Jets. You put in the script, parentheses, pain. I think quite literally for Josh Allen and, you know, for every Bills fan out there. What do you think happened in that game?
Honestly, I've been feeling all day just like this Will Smith meme right here.
Oh, it went away.
You get the idea.
Pull it up.
Well, let me get this beautiful man right here. Just this entire tweet. Just my reaction to like the entire Jets game because that was just a massacre. I'm gonna tell you that much.
Well, I mean, it was a 3-point game, but I mean, Josh Allen, I think that's the biggest concern out of every Bills fan out there is the health and the status of Josh Allen because they said he came out with a possible UCL injury, and if there are any baseball fans out there, the UCL is the Tommy John. So if he aggravated that, then I don't think he should be playing next week, maybe even the week after, just as a precautionary reason because if you need a Tommy John surgery, whether you're a pitcher or an NFL quarterback, that's at least 2 years of rehab right there. The Bills cannot afford to miss 2 years of Josh Allen. So if it's a partially torn UCL, you can repair that. You won't need the fully Tommy John surgery. But if it's just sore, I'd sit him out for precautionary reasons. But right after he was grabbing his elbow, he's like grabbing his forearm, just trying to get the nerves working in his arm. And then he threw a 70-yard pass. So I don't know if he was in a state of shock or what it was, but I don't think the 70-yard bomb at the end of the game really helped out his case very much.
Yeah, that bomb was actually really just one heck of a bone I want to pick real quick because that was a great throw on itself. Too bad that it was missed, but it was good. It was good.
Yeah, a lot of people counting the Jets out, including myself, before the season started. The New York Jets are 6-3 right now. So look out because the Jets are on the rise. The New York Giants, who are on a bye this week, I believe, are on the rise. And the Bills are on the rise. So you got this 2 New Jersey team, 1 New York team that are really on the rise right now. So it's a good time being a New York sports fan.
Yeah.
Right now, I think.
In New York with big parentheses because I don't even think the Jets are in New York.
No, they're in Jersey. They play in East Rutherford. They play in the Meadowlands. So all I've heard living here for the 21 years on this planet was Buffalo's the only team in New York. Well, both of the teams that are called New York that play in New Jersey are actually on the rise too. So you got to give them a little bit of credit. I wouldn't call them the New York Jets or the New York Giants, but they did play a good game. Now we can move on to this. Move on to this Colts and Patriots game. I really just don't care anymore because I just want to get this point across that I don't care what happens the rest of the season with the Colts because I kind of want them to lose to get that top draft pick. And what better way to do so than by firing the idiot in the headset, which took you over a year. Too long to do, but it was finally done.
Well deserved.
Frank Reich is gone.
Well
so
deserved.
thank God. Chris Ballard, you're next. Not even an hour later, they hire a new head coach, an ESPN analyst, and an all-pro center, former center for the Colts. Jeff Saturday is taking over as the interim head coach for the Colts. I don't think we win a single game with Jeff Saturday. I'm just putting that out there right now. He's had a 20-16 record as a high school coach. After watching the press conference yesterday between Chris Ballard and Jim Irsay and Jeff Saturday, I really hope they lose every game. I'm not even going to joke around. I'm glad that Frank Reich is gone, but you have Chris Ballard blaming the GM, blaming the offensive line on the media. That's why they stink. This team is a clown show. It's run by Bozo and Bozo Jr. and Jim Irsay and Chris Ballard. I cannot wait for them to lose every rest of the games by like 50-plus points. They're playing the Raiders this week, who are a struggling team, but they got outplayed, outcoached by Bill Belichick once again, 26-3 this past week, and Sam Ehlinger, their backup quarterback, who was on the practice squad to begin the season, got sacked 9 times.
Yeah, Belichick, man. He's been one heck of a coach ever since Brady just left the team, and well, he's had some highs and lows. Mac Jones to be Pacific, but yeah, that second string quarterback is Mick Jones, man. Mick Jones.
Yep.
That second string quarterback, he got potential. I'm going to tell you that much.
He does have potential, but he needed 137 passing yards to beat the Colts, beat them by 23. Like, I don't even know how that's possible. Jeff Saturday will not win you any games, but the big bonus here is that, we'll smell you later, Frank Reich. Smell you later, because no one's going to miss you. No one's going to hire you. They're already paying you until 2026 because Bozo Sr. gave you a contract extension through 2026. So you can sit on your couch and watch the Colts lose forever, but you're still going to be making money. So who's the true winner here? I think in order for this team to be better in the future, Jim Irsay needs to sell the team to his daughters or something. I cannot listen to that guy talk anymore. He's going to be the reason why they drug test owners. Like, if the NFL hasn't drug tested any owners yet, he will be the reason why they drug test owners. It'll be called the Jim Irsay rule. Book it right now in 5 years. It'll be called the Jim Irsay rule, where NFL owners cannot smoke marijuana in the middle of a press conference and expect them to give out great answers. So, Jim Irsay, Colts are a dumpster fire, but at least I have this team to root for, which we'll get into in future segments. Let's move on. Team's a joke. The Patriots are not very good either. They just looked like a Super Bowl contending team. The Chargers and the Falcons. Chargers are losing this one. But guess what? Atlanta, in typical Atlanta fashion, choke it away. They're up 17-7 in this game. They lose 20-17.
Yeah, well, they won. That's really it, to be honest with you. They just won.
I mean, Justin Herbert doesn't look that good, honestly. I expected a lot more out of this AFC West division more than anything else. The Raiders, subpar, not good. Chargers, I expected a lot more out of them. The Broncos especially.
Yeah.
But the Chiefs are that juggernaut team in the AFC West. I expected a whole lot more, but the Jets have a postseason spot right now if the season ended, and the Chargers and the Raiders and the Broncos currently do not.
Yeah. Well, they were working their behinds off the entire season, so I won't mind that. They already have that spot, so that's good for them. But yeah, that's really interesting. It's really interesting.
I mean, we can move on to the Cincinnati and Carolina game. Absolute blowout in the start. I mean, at one point the Bengals were up 42-7. Then they let Carolina come back with 2 garbage time touchdowns. It's safe to say Joe Burrow is back to full form.
Sure.
I mean, we thought he was on that little Super Bowl hangover, right? And then it took him a couple weeks to find his way again, but he's back. He threw for 5 touchdowns. He had the best quarterback QBR in Week 9. Joe Burrow is back. I'm not sure if the team is ready to follow him just yet.
Yeah, he is back. He's showing his potential again. But I'm telling you, with the Bengals with this season, I'm not pretty sure that it'll keep on the streak, but we'll have to see in the foreseeable future. But let's just celebrate for now that Joe Burrow is actually back.
Yeah, Smokin' Joe is back, and believe me, we saw the cigars in the locker room after that one. That was a big game for him.
That is one hell of a pick.
How about the? Why don't you read this one? Because you wrote this one. It's a very interesting little caption you wrote in here.
The Wagwires.
Waxonville
Wagwires won. That's really surprising. All right. The comeback of the century, for some reason, has just happened this past Saturday with the Jacksonville Wagwires coming back in the second half. What do you think about that?
Well, honestly, I think before I get into anything about Jacksonville, is they are slowly turning it around on offense. You saw at the trade deadline they brought in a key piece. It was Calvin Ridley.
Yes.
From Atlanta. He'll be back in a couple weeks. I think he's serving a suspension right now as we speak. But Trevor Lawrence has been throwing really, really decent passes. It's just that his receivers keep dropping them. But the Las Vegas Raiders are choke artists, man.
Yeah.
They had a 20-0 lead earlier in the season against the Cardinals. They blew it. They had a 20-7 lead against the Broncos. They blew it. And they had a, 20-7 lead here, and they blew this one too. I can't tell if Jacksonville's figuring it out or if the Raiders are just that bad or if it's a mixture of both. I'm going to go with a mixture of both.
Yeah, me too. It's just a mixture of both.
Yeah, for sure. And how about this game that went to OT?
OT.
Tennessee and Kansas City. Patrick Mahomes, it's death, taxes, and struggling against AFC South teams. I never understand why it is, but he lost to Indy somehow. And then the following week, he put 41 up on Tampa Bay. Then he comes in here against Tennessee, against a backup quarterback, and this game is forced to overtime. Kansas City obviously won it, but you got to wonder, is there a mental block in the mind of Patrick Mahomes going up against these AFC South teams?
Probably. I think the mental block is just his brother. His brother with his TikTok and such. I think that's his mental block, if I'm going to be honest with you. But, yeah, they actually won with overtime, schmovertime over here. And, well, good for you, man. Good for you.
Yeah, your brother, not so much. I don't really care.
Yeah, I don't really care about him.
Yeah, that's Jackson Mahomes right there. But I don't think he's a mental block because obviously, he won a Super Bowl against the 49ers and he lost one against Tampa. He's been to 2 Super Bowls and he won one. I just think there's something there. I don't think Mike Vrabel's a good coach for the Titans, but these AFC South teams are not good. I mean, you got Jacksonville, Houston, Indy, Tennessee. But one of those teams is going to the postseason by default. So that, I don't know. But thanks for coming on, man. And we are going to have, for our NFC segment, we're going to have Justin come on in approximately a minute. So do not go away. Stay tuned.
When you think of the local lowdown, what do you think of?
Well, when I think of the local lowdown, it's the live music that we have played in the studio.
It's got to be the laughs we shared. The memorable moments during the whole thing. Oh my God, so fun.
The local lowdown for me is the people behind the scenes, the amazing team that we have making the show.
Oh, it's gotta be exploring all sorts of genres and music I've never heard before.
Oh, easy. Going out to shows and talking to artists and getting the latest news on what they have planned for the future.
It's about these artists, man. Giving them a platform to showcase what they've worked so hard on and show their music to the community. It's all about supporting the local scene of music to keep it running for years to come. And of course, the band merch. You can't forget about the merch.
This for the whole
Well, we're on right now.
Oh!
We're on right now, Justin.
Well, hello, people.
How's it going, everyone? We're here to cover the NFC segment. Why don't we just start off with the first battle between Philadelphia and Houston? The one that nobody watched, by the way.
Yeah, of course.
Because throughout this game,
it's Thursday night game.
Thursday night game, yeah. Houston and Philly, in the bottom half of the bottom corner of the scoreboard, they literally had the baseball on because everyone knows that the Texans are so bad. But Philadelphia Eagles, I expected a blowout against the Texans. They kind of just got past them a little bit, but they still remain the only undefeated team in the NFL.
It was a close game. Like, it was closer than I thought it was going to be.
Way closer.
The only thing that I liked from the Houstons was their helmets.
Yeah,
Did you
the
see
red
those?
on red on red?
The red on red on red with the chrome red on top. It was a good look for them, but the only thing that didn't look good for them was the end of the scoreboard at the end of the game. So
when the clock hit 0.
Way to go, Eagles! 8-0. That's quite an achievement.
For the first time in franchise history, they've started off 8-0.
Miles Sanders with 93 rushing yards, and Jalen Hurts had a pretty good game. But other than that, yeah, it's where the Eagles fly away with a win.
Yep. How about Baltimore and New Orleans game from last night?
How about them?
Saints just, I don't even know what's going on with that team right now.
It was a rough game to watch for the Saints. 4 sacks against the Saints. You know, it was just a really good game for Baltimore's offense and defense. They ran the ball a lot, but there was some. Did you see this? There was some like drama between Lamar Jackson and the center.
Did see that.
He got a little frustrated because the play clock, and they did get a delay game penalty, but you know, it's all part of the game. They're professionals, and it was good to see that.
Yeah. I mean, that happens before. I mean, I mentioned before Jeff Saturday being the interim head coach of the Colts, and there's this really famous clip of him yelling at Peyton Manning. That's all over YouTube about him calling the plays. Basically, like, we should have ran the ball down there, and Peyton just lost his mind.
Yeah.
Because they threw the ball 3 straight times in the end zone, and then on the next drive, they scored a touchdown. It's all hugs and handshakes.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, this thing happens. This type of relationship between the quarterback and center happens more often than anyone else really knows. It's just the times where the camera catches it, or when it's mic'd up, or people really start hearing it. But Baltimore, you got to give them credit. They're looking like a good team right now.
Yeah, no, it's definitely better now than they were, like 3-4 weeks ago.
Just a few weeks ago.
Just an overall better team, better gameplay.
And can we talk about the Miami Dolphins right now? They beat the Chicago Bears. The Bears made a big splash at the trade deadline, trading for Chase Claypool, and there was a little clip going around before this game that showed him in warm-ups dropping a wide-open pass in warm-ups, and that was the film that they got on the NFL Network, but he didn't look too bad in this game. Both offenses didn't look bad in this game. Tua looked good.
Yeah.
Justin Fields looked good, but Miami came out on top.
Yeah, Justin Fields actually set a record for rushing yards by a quarterback, 178 rushing yards.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was it was a great game. I mean, the Bears adjusted really well to Waddle and Hill.
And we're wearing great helmets, by the way, too.
And we're wearing great helmets, which was those are the 2 large strong suits on Miami. So, like, for them to adjust to them, it was good. That's why it was an extremely close game. There was some like questionable pass interference calls onto the Bears, but not onto the Dolphins. Because some would argue it was an even worse pass interference that they didn't call against the Dolphins, but I feel like that's what cost them the game. But
I was gonna say that the no calls, I feel like were more like were worse than the actual calls.
Yes.
You had the receiver standing up like, are you just gonna let him do that?
Yeah.
And the coaches on the sideline going crazy. But this was a high-scoring game, and nobody had this being this high-scoring. I believe it was Justin Fields that passed Michael Vick for the most rushing yards by a quarterback in a single game. So we all knew how good he was running the ball. That's a big thumbs up to Justin Fields right there. But Tua, this just proves me right now, when you give Tua Tagovailoa weapons, he's a pretty good quarterback.
Yeah. No, he got shooken up a little with the head injury that he had earlier on in the season, but now I think he's getting back in his groove. He had 300 passing yards. You know, he's just looking overall better.
Yeah, like I said before, nobody had this game being a shootout, but, I mean, Tua, he's inaccurate sometimes. You can see on the cameras that sometimes the receivers have to go back and reach backwards for the ball. Still throwing it in their direction. They're still making big catches. That's why they're good players. How about this one? Aaron Rodgers and company. And the Detroit Lions, 15-9 was the final score. And no, Green Bay didn't win.
No, they did not. Detroit won. Detroit had their second win of the season. They had their first, within their first touchdown, they attempted the 2-point conversion. They got it. But why did they attempt it? It was the first touchdown of the game. They were like, we got a touchdown. Let's just push our luck, and then maybe we'll get 2 more points. I don't know. It was kind of... But Aaron Rodgers had a tough game. I felt bad for the dude. Threw 3 interceptions, 2 of them in the red zone. And that's their 5th loss in a row for Green Bay.
And we just need to talk about this. The Detroit Lions have the 32nd ranked secondary in the league, meaning the worst secondary, meaning cornerbacks, safeties, defensive backs in the league. And they got 3 interceptions off of Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
2 of them were in the red zone, and they came out with 9 points. I think the reason why they wanted to go for 2 is they wanted to run the ball down their throat super early because they knew Aaron Rodgers wasn't going to lead them back. They wanted to go up by 1 possession, but a big 1 possession, and they wanted to just. They said, "Hey, I think we're in the sweepstakes for one of these young rookie quarterbacks in the upcoming draft. Why don't we just have fun and just mess around a little bit? Hopefully, we can get this 2-point conversion." Didn't really work out that way, but the Lions did come out on top in a very low-scoring game. Packers fans, I just feel bad for you guys because the 4-year, $200 million contract is just looming over Aaron Rodgers' head right now.
Just eating away.
He's the real winner right now.
Yeah.
He has a Super Bowl ring already. He really has nothing else to play for. He's 37 years old, and he's getting $135 million guaranteed by the Green Bay Packers to play like that.
You know, I feel like for this game especially, his knee must have been acting up.
My knee!
My knee.
Man, I guess he didn't have the... What was he popping that night against the Bears?
He didn't have the
Percocets that night?
Didn't have the Perkies, didn't have the shrooms. He wasn't in his right headspace, but that's okay.
But he wasn't against Chicago with all those years ago, and he still beat them with 1 leg and glossy-eyed.
One leg, and he didn't know where he was. He just
had no idea what color jersey he was wearing.
He just knew he won, which is very opposite to this game where he knew exactly where he was, but he also knew he lost.
And he misses Devontae Adams. And I bet you Devontae misses Green Bay since he's playing in whatever's going on in Las Vegas there with the Raiders. But how about Minnesota and Washington? Taylor Heineke, I'm going to say this, they didn't get the win. But Washington, this guy is a resilient quarterback. They could be down by 21 points, and Taylor Heineke's bringing them back in this game. He did it last week against Indy. He started to bring it back against the Vikings. Wearing those jet black jerseys.
Those sick
Those were
unis.
awesome. He needs to be your starter. Carson Wentz needs to be the backup. But you got to give credit to the Vikings. They still have 1 loss on the season.
Yep.
They're fighting for that top spot in the NFC.
Watching this game, this is a total side note, but just hearing commentators talk about the dances that the players do will always be hilarious.
Well, this was the most epic thing.
This was one of the first touchdowns of the game. Justin Jefferson, he's giddy over the gritty, is what the announcer said, and I whipped my head back in laughter because of how ridiculous
and in cringe.
How ridiculous a 40-year-old can sound on national television.
At least 40.
At least 40.
We
He's
might be
probably older
talking
than
50.
that.
He might be as old as O-Town.
Giddy over the gritty, bro. Go to your age vocab.
Go to your room. Just
sit
go to your
corner.
room.
Sit in the corner.
Go to bed without dinner for saying such cringe. Right?
It was a little rough.
Yeah.
Watching or hearing a man that
At least
old.
Justin Jefferson, at least he knew what the gritty was.
He can pull it off.
At least he knows what that terminology was.
He can pull it off, but no one in their right mind will ever say, under the age of 30 will ever say giddy over the gritty.
You won't have a 21-year-old sports hour host ever saying that in the history of this world.
What is that?
That's an awful saying. I have no.
Next.
Vikings win. Okay. Tampa Bay and the Rams. What is going on with the Bucs, man?
Dude, I don't even it. It just.
It goes.
It gives me joy.
Worse.
It gives me joy, and it gives me hope that Tom Brady just plays one more season, just to really pile it in there about how bad he has turned out. You know, he's had so much family drama over still playing football, and this is the season you're doing, dude. Wow.
You would think, out of all people, Tom Brady facing outside adversity like a rough family life, that he would turn around and put this league on notice. He'd be throwing 4 touchdowns a game, throwing 400 yards passing a game. Because that was what Tom Brady was. If there was something else going on in the organization, like the whole Deflategate thing, his first few games back, he's throwing for 450 yards. He's getting revenge on the league. You know what this shows me? Tom Brady is used goods, and he will be the Colts quarterback in 2023. He will be one of the 1,000
Interesting.
quarterbacks that come through this carousel before they find their franchise guy.
Interesting.
So I'm just preparing myself now. He will be a part of that bum squad. But Matt Stafford, what's going on with him though? Like I mean, obviously he can win some games, but he's not. He doesn't look like Matt Stafford.
It's it's almost like the only weapon he has left is Cooper Kupp, and then that's it. And that's all he's got left. I mean, in the
Cam
beginning,
Akers doesn't give Cam Akers the ball.
I mean, they were playing better in the beginning of the season, but now it's just kind of we're just seeing another
He left
downfall.
his lights off.
The lights are off.
The
for
Rams'
LA
lights
Rams.
are off. They're
No
not
more
on.
lights in a Ram.
There aren't any lights inside of a Ram.
That's how it works.
And then this last game, Seattle and Arizona. Geno Smith, MVP. Can I just say that right now?
You can
he's
say
had
that.
He's had a few weeks where it's just like, he's Geno Smith. But the past month or so, Geno Smith's been fantastic.
Yeah. I just got to say one thing about this game. You know, I always comment on the uniforms and the colors. Seattle, you got to fix the light gray. The light gray, and then you got that neon green.
You look like
going
highlighters.
On. You look like highlighters. You look like traffic cones going around the field. Like, what are you doing?
You look like pylons
You're
that I
blinding
avoid.
the team. How is that fair? You're blinding the other team. You got to work on that. You got to work on the light gray, which looks horrible, and then you got to work on the neon green, which is obviously it's like
bring back the light blues.
It's a safety hazard at that point. It
Bring
really
back
is.
the light blues from the 90s.
I didn't think the football field was a textbook I got to study for.
And
look
they're
at
gonna
all,
put
look at all of
highlights
them going.
and notes in it?
No, you got to fix that
All
in the
right.
design room.
Well, thanks for coming on, Justin.
of course.
Obviously, you listened to O-Town before you came on the segment.
Oh, of course.
But coming up in approximately
Always.
2 minutes, we're going to have Ethan come on and talk some MLB baseball and some common Houston Astros success. So stay tuned.
Astros.
Astros.
We've been down there. You gotta do the same. Post office. All you do is sign. So don't get nervous. Sign your name. Executive service. It takes no time. Just sign on the line at the post office. Executive service.
Hey guys, if you're about to turn 18, you've got to register with Selective Service. It's simple. Just go down to the post office, fill out a card, and turn it in. That's all there is to it. There's no draft now. You're just adding your name to Selective Service's list in case there's a national emergency.
So if you're 18 now, Selective service, you gotta get down. Post office.
Register with Selective Service. It's quick, it's easy, and it's the law.
Takes no time. Just sign on the line at the post office. Selective service. We've been down there. Post office. You gotta do the same. Post office. All you do is sign. So don't get nervous. Sign your name. Selective service. It takes no time. Just sign on the line at the post office. Selective service.
Hey guys, if you're about to turn 18, you've got to register with Selective Service. It's simple. Just go down to the post office, fill out a card, and turn it in. That's all there is to it. There's no draft now. You're just adding your name to Selective Service's list in case there's a national emergency.
So if you're 18 now, Selective service, you gotta get down. Post office.
Register with Selective Service. It's quick, it's easy, and it's the law.
Takes no time. Just sign on the line at the post office. Selective service.
Well, welcome back to Victory Tuesday Sports Hour. Obviously, you can see I'm looking at some haters behind the camera right now that do not like the team that I root for. He's actually flipping me off right now. But let's go Astros. Ethan, you watched the World Series like I did.
Baseball's once again flying the H-Town banner.
They are.
And this time they did not use garbage cans to secure their pennant.
Or fake electronic devices.
Or some buzzers.
That some people out there like to try to spin. But Obviously, I came on here last week and we were getting blown out like what 7-0 last week.
I believe it was a game.
And it was rough. Game 3.
Yeah.
Lance McCullers was getting the doors blown off of him, but it's.
Bryce Harper decided to become the best baseball player of all time for a single game, and then he kind of fizzled out later in the series. Kind of stopped performing as he usually does. Jeremy Pena obviously winning World Series MVP, the first rookie to win World Series MLP and LCS MLB, the second of all time, which is very interesting to think that he's a 25-year-old rookie, which I don't generally understand, as Yordan Alvarez has been in the league for about 4 seasons and is the same age. But who am I to declare rules and regulations on rookie players? I thought it was a really great series.
I thought it was too, but
after Game 3,
what really turned the tide was that Game 4 was the combined no-hitter, the first no-hitter in the World Series since 1956.
Which is amazing.
With, I believe it was a Dodgers pitcher in 1956 that did it. But I think that was what really turned the tide. That was the game that the Astros needed. If they didn't no-hit them, it could have gone to 7. But the no-hitter is just such a huge factor in a series like this.
So hard to get back from.
It just swings the momentum completely 180. Nobody had it coming. And going into that game, the Astros or the Phillies won every single postseason game at home. They're running like a 7-game postseason streak. Then they come in led by Christian Javier, great pitching, followed by Brian Abreu, Rafael Montero, and Ryan Presley to close it out. That was a great game.
Just nasty stuff on the dish.
Absolutely. Striking out 17 out of the 27 outs came via strikeout, which is crazy. And then that Game 5, Justin Verlander getting his first World Series win as a starting pitcher. You got to feel good for a guy like JV. Like, there was an asterisk next to his name going into the Baseball Hall of Fame. A Hall of Fame pitcher who's won a World Series but has never won a game in the World Series as a starter. He finally got that to put the Astros up 3-2. And then Game 6, where I was watching this game, half the time pacing around the room because we weren't scoring any runs. Nobody was scoring any runs through the first 5 innings of the game.
The Schwarber has that
Kyle
monster
Schwarber hits
blast.
one, where I kind of fall to my knees a little bit, and I'm like, okay, got to get it together because this series cannot go to 7.
Can't go to 7. I feel like if this series goes to 7 in Houston, I think the Phillies.
The Phillies win.
The cardiac Phillies, that might take Game 7. But Yordan Alvarez, who I think has been the Astros' best player far and away this season, just with a monster 3-run shot in the bottom of the 6th. And I think that was the killing blow. I think that was the coup de grace by the Houston Astros this season, because I feel like the Philadelphia Phillies losing, going down that much in that fashion. Just Yordan Alvarez obviously tough. 2 runners on, 1 by an error, 2 just a tough position to be in no matter what. You can't really pitch around him. You don't want to load the bases because you got Altuve coming up next. So he pitched to him and just a monster shot, and I think that's one of the most
a hanging curve over the center of the plate
against Yordan Alvarez. He's going to go deep every time.
He took him 450 dead center right into the standing room in the Budweiser Lounge. I mean, that was a great shot, but.
They heard that shot over in General Motors Place in Vancouver.
So that thing in Vancouver, but it's also still orbiting around NASA over there, down there in the 713 in H-Town.
Touched the stratosphere up there.
It did. Yeah, absolutely. But I thought that was the final nail in the coffin. They decided to take out their starter, Zach Wheeler, in Game 6, who was absolutely doing great.
Just a monster.
I mean, he was striking out Altuve, striking out Alvarez, Pena, and Bregman, their top 4 hitters in their lineup. And they take him out with runners at the corners with 1 out, and Yordan's due up. I think this is managerial. They did this to themselves, and then the Astros
I couldn't imagine the thought process behind thinking that you got one of the best hitters on the planet coming on, and your pitcher's been in the game for 5 and a quarter innings right now. It's just who's been twirling a gem so far. The first jam he gets into, and all of a sudden you're like, yeah, let's pull him into the guy who hasn't thrown a pitch tonight against the best hitter on the planet, the hottest hitter right now on the Astros. And then of course he hangs the curve, like on his 4th pitch.
You're better off intentionally walking him, looking for that double play ball with Alex Bregman on deck.
Bregman, who had been struggling this series, in my opinion.
He was doing great in the ALCS, great in the ALDS, and kind of fizzled out in the World Series. But he had a couple doubles that were crucial in games 4 and 5. But outside of that, he hasn't been hitting home. He hasn't been hitting tanks in the World Series.
And he's definitely. I'd rather face Bregman. I'd rather let Bregman beat me than Yordan Alvarez.
Yeah.
And I think Alvarez proved why he is considered one of the best hitters on the planet. Congratulations to Bregman, by the way, in his first World Series as a father.
Yep.
And congratulations to Dusty Baker. he's been in the game a long time. We're looking at 29 years as a manager and his first World Series win of all time. Just got it done. And I think this was a very well managed series from Baker.
Very, very good. They also broke that stigma where it was Astros are all fun and games until they face against a National League East team in the World Series. They lost to the Nationals. Epic collapse against the Nationals in 19.
We saw that coming. Juan Soto, though.
Got absolutely pummeled by the Braves last year. And then coming to this year, look at this.
Oh,
on your schedule, you got another NL East team in the Phillies this time. I think next due up is either going to be the Marlins or the Mets. I mean, it's only right?
And the Mets.
You got that. And then what do? Game 1, you blow a 5-0 lead, and it's like, here we go. Deja vu.
Is that Houston Astros we've seen all time.
Yep. But then Dusty Baker keeps his starters in for the correct amount of innings pitched after that Game 1. He's letting Framber Valdez, who has, just nasty stuff. A great curveball, great fastball, take control of Game 6. And that bullpen is absolutely stellar. Brian Abreu, Rafael Montero, Hector Neris, and of course the closer, Ryan Presley, doing great things as well.
Presley was a monster this series. And I think the most obvious of the managerial great decisions that were made, I think, was especially that no-hitter in Game 4.
Yeah.
Because no manager in their right mind is ever pulling Christian Javier, who threw 6 innings, no hits allowed, 2 walks, and what was it? Was that 11 Ks?
11 strikeouts.
11 strikeouts. And then you're coming into the 6th, Javier's feeling it. He's crazy, but
running on pure adrenaline at that point.
But Baker realizes, and I think what a lot of other managers wouldn't have realized, this series doesn't end tonight, no matter how good Javier is pitching. And you're going to want Christian Javier, and it proved to pay dividends.
And he might want to save him for a possible Game 7 start.
Exactly. And so I think it was a genius decision. I know at the time when I saw that news article and I was watching the game, I was a little upset because I wanted to see Javier throw a no-hitter. But then, but Dusty Baker's not there to watch Christian Javier throw a no-hitter. He's there to win baseball games.
Yep.
And that's what he did. And I think it's moments like those where you don't let the moment, the spectacle get to you. I think that's where Baker proved his veteran leadership and his good managerial skills.
Trey Mancini getting his first win. 2020, he was diagnosed with stage 3 colon cancer. 2022, he's a World Series champ. Great story right there for Trey Mancini. How about Dusty Baker going back on him? 1993, his first game he ever managed for the Chicago Cubs was against the San Francisco Giants. Do you know who the leadoff hitter, his first ever batter he faced against?
Barry Bonds, right?
It was Geronimo
Not
Pena.
even close. Oh.
Jeremy Pena's father was the first ever batter that he's faced against. And his son, Jeremy, won the World Series MVP for Dusty Baker's led Houston Astros team. It just sounds like a complete story.
Made out of a movie.
Obviously, Christian Vasquez looking great. The acquisition from the Boston Red Sox, getting a key RBI to go up 4-1 in that Game 6. Just a complete team. The World Series parade was yesterday. My cousin was in it. Big shout out to you, Mike. He took a selfie from one of the floats. 2 million people in H-Town showing up. Congratulations to the 2022 World Series champion, Houston Astros.
Congratulations, Astros, and also Aaron Judge is a Toronto Blue Jay.
Aaron Judge is either a Blue Jay or a San Francisco Giant. Look out for that, too. But Ethan, thanks for coming on. You're actually gonna stay right where you are.
Staying right where I am.
Because in approximately a minute, he's gonna stay to talk some NBA basketball when we return.
To Sofia and Gabriel, mis flores, my little flowers. Even though these old knees can't follow on your adventure to the forest today, these flowers represent my love, so you can take me with you wherever you go, near or far. These stitches and threads join us together. Me, your mother, and both of you. And wherever you see a flower, a bird, a beautiful tree, know that my love is with you. As you bring our colorful stories to the world.
Make the forest part of your story at a park near you. Find one at discovertheforest.org.
Well, it's been a while, Ethan.
This time I didn't even move.
I mean, it's been a whole minute. That's 60 seconds.
You
right
guys, you guys okay at home right now?
I don't think they are.
This next 8 minutes of high octane NBA analysis.
I don't think they're ready. I don't think they are.
Well, it doesn't matter because if you're not ready, you're last or whatever.
If you ain't first, you're last.
That's the one
From
I was thinking
From the great
of.
Reese Bobby from Talladega Nights. But can we talk about, just jumping right into the gate, what are the Brooklyn Nets?
The Brooklyn Nets. They can't get it done. Steve Nash is out as head coach, which I think is an entire season too late. He's not a good head coach. Great player.
They gave him the Frank Reich treatment.
All-time point guard. Not a good head coach. He's trash. Moral of the story. Who's also trash? Ben Simmons, becoming the biggest liability in baseball.
Overrated.
This guy's
Basketball.
Sorry, basketball. The brain's frazzled.
Yep.
Biggest liability in basketball. This man is making 4 years, like $37 million a year, and he's giving you 6 points a night. I'm sorry. That's completely unacceptable. Ben Simmons needs to be better. The Nets need to be better.
You know what that is? That's 3 more 2-pointers than me sitting on my couch.
Yeah,
watching the game.
I'm getting paid $37 million less to score 6 points less a night. He's giving you 6 assists. He's giving you 6 rebounds. He's good on defense. But from a man making that money, who's supposed to be the third part of the big three, and don't even get me started on the other part of the big three, Kevin Durant, who's somehow just solo carrying the Nets when he's supposed to have Kyrie Irving on his team, which Kyrie Irving, of course, has a whole lot of stuff going on right now.
And how about that, though? KD carrying a team.
KD finally...
He's not riding the coattails of anybody.
This
you
must be
that?
karma.
Wow. Well, I think it's good karma for him. It's a good life lesson to learn.
So when he goes back to the Warriors in 2 seasons and wins another ring, we'll know why.
Yeah.
But Ben Simmons, trash.
Not good.
Just has to be better. I think.
Just figure it out.
You can say this. The Nets need a center. The Nets need more wing defense. The Nets need better transition play. The Nets need a hustle player. The Nets need Ben Simmons to be Ben Simmons. This man's a first overall pick. Sat out his entire rookie season. Former Rookie of the Year. Massive 4-year contract. Traded one of the best players in the NBA for him. He's got to play better. That's the number one fix. You can fire your coach. You can suspend Kyrie Irving indefinitely. You can do all these things. Nothing will happen until Ben Simmons plays better.
And don't get me wrong, Steve Nash was one of the worst head coaches I've ever seen. I mean, he
I'm
was
a better
awful.
head coach.
He was terrible. Like, yeah, I'm about to say I think the Brooklyn Nets would get better production with you, or at least similar production with an inexperienced coach like Ethan. But I think Ethan would have a sit-down conversation with Ben Simmons and say, listen.
It's like he forgot how to play basketball.
You are literally putting up numbers that like a G leaguer would put up.
Jordan Nwora is having a better season than Ben Simmons. Speaking of,
it's not good.
It's looking ugly. He looks like he can't. He's scared.
I think he's
to
in
shoot.
his own head.
He's scared to shoot. He's scared to pass. He looks completely lost on the offensive end. He does not look like the same player that won Rookie of the Year 4 seasons ago. Speaking of pretenders like Ben Simmons, the Utah Jazz currently sit atop the Western Conference. They're 9-3 and undefeated at home at 5-0. This is quite possibly the craziest start to the season I could have predicted. The Utah Jazz 9-3. Lowry Markkanen's having arguably an all-star campaign. Jordan Clarkson looks like a bona fide top-level scorer. They're getting great production from their bench. They're getting great defense. They're getting great offense. I also think this is terrible. I don't think it's sustainable.
I was going to say, but what's the downside? Well, number one, you're only 12 games into an 82-game season.
12 games in, so there's 70 more to go.
70 to go. The Jazz, they do have weaknesses on defense that make them beatable.
Yeah, Colin Sexton and Rudy Gay obviously looking great, but you don't look at that team and think, oh man, that guy's gonna go shut down their top level scorer. Right now they're winning games by outscoring their opponents. They have a great offensive rating. Defensively, they're lacking. They let Matt Ryan hit that clutch game-tying 3 right before the buzzer rang, the DoorDash driver. And then obviously they went on to lose in overtime versus the Los Angeles Lakers. But right now, the current Utah Jazz team, I don't think is sustainable. I could be wrong. I'd love to be wrong. I love underdogs. I'd love for the Utah Jazz to make a run for the title. But they look right now as if they're just riding off an incredible streak of just burying triple after triple and scoring way more than they should.
And it's all about the luck to turn, right?
Yep.
Like, nobody's that automatic.
Nobody.
It only lasts,
you're not gonna
it
get
only
this
lasts
production
for
all
a
night.
few stretch of games. You're not hitting 75% from beyond the arc every night. That just has to. You got to take more shots inside the paint, draw more fouls, and you got to make more passes.
And once that reality sets in for the Utah Jazz, we're going to see their wins start tanking. But I think the more they win, the longer it takes that to happen, ends up being detrimental to the long term. Unless you see Jordan Clarkson maintaining this and Colin Sexton becoming what people thought he would be out of college, and Larry Markkinen also just growing insanely out of his potential range, you want a high draft pick in this class. You have Scoot Henderson coming out. You have Victor Wembanyama coming out, who's arguably the most highly anticipated prospect since LeBron James.
Yep.
And you can't have that. I think you either got to make your choice now. You're going to keep winning, or you're going to keep tanking. And 9-3, tough decision to make.
12 games in, you do have the time to figure out what you want to do. What you don't want to do is you don't want to finish 41-41. Get a bad draft pick. I know that they have the lottery. They have the lottery in place, but there's no guarantees. There's also no guarantees for the top pick either with the lottery here.
Mm-hmm.
So at 9-3, I'd say keep it going. Just take some minor, or just change some minor things here and there. Take more shots inside the paint, more automatic shots than these crazy threes that they're somehow still hitting. But do that. You don't have to change everything because you're obviously 9-3. But
very true. I mean, you're 9-3.
For all we know, they could be pretenders as this next game. Or is this next game?
I could just be lying, but another team that is benefiting from a very weak Western Conference, I'd say right now, was the Portland Trailblazers. Portland Trailblazers.
It was a different story a couple weeks ago when we came on here and talked about the Trailblazers.
I thought they'd be the worst team in the association. I clearly am wrong because they got some cardiac kids out there in the rainy weather state. As they have won 3 or 4 games, I think now, off of a buzzer beater, and 0 of those buzzer beaters are from Damian Lillard, which is an excellent sign if you're a Portland fan. Damian Lillard has been unbelievable for you over the course of the last couple of seasons. He's been unreal, hitting game winner after game winner, carrying your franchise to victories. And now he's not doing that. He's still playing good, giving you a 25 a night. But you got Josh Hart. Contributing. You have Anthony Simons contributing. You got forgot his name, Yusuf Nurkic contributing.
You have depth.
You got depth, and so they and the Jazz are teams to pay attention to up until next week because they look great. But are they actually great? Or are they just pretending to be great? Because you got the Milwaukee Bucks out in the East, look incredible. Yep. You got the Philadelphia 76ers, who look very rough.
Cleveland Cavaliers looking to be amazing, benefiting immensely from the Donovan Mitchell trade. Darius Garland obviously giving you bucket after bucket. And real quick, the most exciting, not so good teams to watch right now. Who are they?
The most exciting teams to watch. If you're having a boring night and want NBA League Pass, check into those the Orlando Magic teams with Paolo Banchero and the Detroit Pistons, as they are the best, worst teams to watch.
Yes, they are. But Ethan, thanks for coming on for back-to-back segments.
Thank you for having me.
In approximately a minute, we're going to have our boy Brent to join out and to talk some questionable Sabres hockey when we return.
Oh.
Scored by...
This one's for the real ballers and shot callers, the sisterhood of women in tech. They're discovering cures, building apps, and programming the blockchain. They're CEOs, worldwide hustlers who can make it rain. They're tearing down the old boys club and seeing big gains. Because when women in tech come together, you know they make that change.
Every day.
Millions of people are connecting.
And even though we're overcoming obstacles,
watching each other's backs,
and banding together,
we should still make an effort.
We should still make an effort.
To get to know each other.
On a deeper level. Father.
Cosplayer.
Mentor.
Actor.
It's time we take a step forward.
It's time we take a step forward.
Come together.
And discover
how accepting our differences
can make us stronger.
Okay, welcome back to Sports Hour. Where's my co-host, Brent? Oh, there you are. What's up, dude?
Today is not the day for the Buffalo Sabres.
Yeah, hasn't been the weekend.
Hasn't been the weekend. Hasn't been. I'm disappointed, Trev.
Dude.
I am distraught. I am.
I'm laughing to keep myself from punching this laptop off the table. I hope you know that because we're losing to the abandoned factory Robo Boogies 3-1 with 4 minutes to go in the third period.
Yeah, at home, by the way.
I might just start crying. Eric Comrie.
Can
I say on the show that he sucks? Because you suck.
Yeah, you
Eric
suck.
Comrie's garbage.
Yeah,
Okay.
you haven't done anything.
And everybody on social media keeps defending him. You believe that? He gave us nothing against Tampa Bay except a blown 3-2 lead on Saturday. A game where Jeff Skinner looked great, by the way. A game where Tage Thompson looked fantastic, by the way. Like what Justin said, big shout out to him behind the camera. He said before we went on, how do you beat the Pens 6-3? But you can't defend your home ground against the Arizona Coyotes? This is the Sabres coming back down to earth. And this isn't like my Astros rant from last week where they turned it around magically. This is what the Sabres have been doing for 12 years. I'm not even joking.
I always say, don't ever count out the Sabres. City of Buffalo, don't do it. How in the world are we losing to the abandoned factories right now? How in the
How are we losing to
absolute
Chira
world? How are we? Did they not pull up Dreamweaver before the game? Did they not give the scribbles to all the robos? Like, what is happening right now? This is absolutely ridiculous.
Well, obviously they didn't play O-Town. They didn't play 2K7 in the locker room. Obviously they didn't show up for Com 111. And they didn't say, I'll just send it in a Google file or a Google Drive for you so you guys can figure out the whole game plan here. No, they're just losing.
This is like the same size screen that they have, like in their, in their room where they go over plays and stuff. I don't think they're using it that much. I don't think they are because.
No, I think it's been off.
This is a pretty big screen. It could probably get the whole ice on there. You could probably pick out, which players are doing what.
For all we know, Don Granado is just watching the shopping, the Food Network on there during the intermission because I don't even know what's going on. You have the Vegas Golden Knights next on the schedule. I thought we were going to correct it. I thought we were going to get it right on this 4-game home streak, but you're going to have this sour taste in your mouth going up against one of the top teams in the West.
The top team in the league. They're number one in the league. They're number one in the league right now.
You're gonna put this out for people to watch. I say Pagulas, give the fans their money back. We all saw this implosion coming. It wasn't a matter of if, it was a matter of when.
Yeah.
This is how it starts. I mean, the Arizona Coyotes are rocking some nice uniforms. They have a sweet logo. I love that they brought back the 90s logo back, but they're still the Coyotes.
Speaking of that,
they play in a
you guys
college
want to bring back
arena.
the goat heads? You guys want to bring back the goat heads and you're losing to Arizona. Don't even bother bringing out that uniform until you show something more. Because this is like, how are we going to beat Detroit 8-3? How are we going to go beat the Penguins, what was it, 6-3?
6-3.
6-3. And then lose, literally we're losing to the worst teams. Seattle, Montreal,
And it wasn't even
Arizona.
close in Seattle.
It wasn't even close. It's like, I mean, that game, everyone was like, they just want to go home. I don't care. Sure, you want to go home? How about you win the game first?
And then you can go home.
And then, could have been the first Western sweep that Buffalo's seen since God knows when.
Probably since before their existence.
Probably before I was born. And
Definitely since before you were born.
And
I mean, for sure.
They ended up deciding we're just going to turn the lights off and go home. And, moving
Brent,
on.
It's 4-1.
Vegas.
It's 4-1
You're coming
now.
into our barn. Eichel.
They just scored again.
They won. Oh, Arizona.
Arizona.
Yeah, 4-1. Okay, game's over.
Hey,
Sick.
Donnie,
Sabres,
why are we starting
awesome.
Eric Comrie every night? I don't know. I don't understand your love affair over him. I mean, you got a crush on him or something? Why are we starting Eric Comrie every night?
He's got a crush on Comrie. He's got a crush on Middlestat.
Casey Middle sucks. Yep.
Casey
Garbage.
Middlestat sucks. Yep. He's not doing anything.
You know who else sucks and is winning right now? The Arizona Coyotes.
The Arizona abandoned factories.
The Arizona Chira.
All I know is Eichel's coming back home Thursday. I was actually supposed to be going to the game, but for some reason the Sabres decided, since it's Eichel, we're gonna boost the tickets right up to like $60 to $80. I'm sorry. I love you, Sabres. I'm not paying that to sit in 300s. I'm not doing it.
No,
so I'll watch the game at home.
Shout
on my
out, shout out
couch.
Dr. Min though.
Shout out Dr. Min. If I know you're not watching this, but if you are or were,
this dude's
I love
loaded.
you.
This dude's loaded.
This dude's great. He's a professor here. Took us to the game last year against Vegas in the suites.
It was a great game.
Got some nice wings, some nice burgers, and we got
nice
to see
alcoholic
Eichel lose.
beverages.
We're 21.
Alcohol.
We're 21.
We're 21.
But
okay.
Thursday.
We had some Labatt
Blues and some Blue.
And some Trulies.
Truly.
It was a fun time.
It was. I had to be the driver, sadly. But
it was the DD.
I was. Someone's got to do it. But coming into Thursday, this is going to be a pretty intense game. Do we even do
How
predictions?
do you have any confidence going into that game?
Do we even do predictions? No,
Eight,
okay, no.
eight nothing Vegas.
What are we
Eichel
on?
scores all 8 goals.
What are we on? A 3-game losing streak?
3 games.
3-game losing streak. The Sabres know what this game means to them, to the fans, to everybody. Everyone from Buffalo City, everyone knows what this game is. It's Jack Eichel coming home.
It was a Vegas game that turned the season around last year, but it was just too little, too late at that point.
Yeah, a lot.
So
too
what
late,
happens
actually,
if you win?
if we
Hypothetically
win-
speaking, you, a blue moon has to occur for Eric Comrie to sit the bench.
Yep.
For that 846 save percentage to sit the bench. I mean, he's putting up Delpo's mixed with Somchak numbers out there. Or what was his name? Patrick Lalime.
Yep.
Putting those numbers out there. And believe it or not, there are people on social media defending this guy, saying, well, defense should be stepping up. He should make a routine freaking save. Okay?
Okay, think about it, though. Saying the defense should step up, most of our defense are young guys, second, third, first.
Out with injuries.
Out with injuries, first, second, third year in the league. We can't depend. Honestly, it comes down to the goalie. Our team is way too young. Comrie and Anderson, they're both 30-something, or actually Craig's 42.
Craig is 41. He's my 41-year-old goaltender who's sitting the bench against the worst team in the league for some reason.
Which is probably why Dom played Eric Comrie, whatever. But I don't know. Comrie is being so inconsistent.
Call up UPL. Just get a goalie. You have the roster to take you to a wild card spot right now.
1000%.
I'm convinced by that.
1000%.
Call up UPL. Beg Devin Levi to hop on a plane, to hop out of Northwestern, or where's he go? Northeastern University, to come to the state. We need a goalie. You're not making it out of round 1 or through the month of February, March, or April, because that's a juggernaut schedule as well, especially at home. You got Boston and teams like, you got Vegas on the road in March. That juggernaut schedule, you got to have a goalie. This team has the potential to get to the postseason. Slinging Eric Comrie out there, who's been a career-long backup with the Winnipeg Jets, and believe it or not, the Winnipeg Jets weren't that great last year, but we went out and signed him as one of our goalies. And bringing back Craig Anderson, call up UPL. I mean, how much worse can the goaltending position get? You went with Aaron Dell last year. Oh my God.
Post.
You went with
Post.
I'd rather trust a dead body on the ice than Aaron Dell. And then you have Eric Comrie out on just an 846 save percentage is not starting goaltender numbers. We just need to get that through Donnie Meatball.
I'm not even looking at my fantasy. The last time I checked fantasy, like an hour ago, Comrie gave me 2 points. So I don't even know how many he's at now.
Final just came in,
they
by
just
the way.
scored
4-1.
4-1. Game
Final
over.
score. Yep. Talk about a robo. All your
tough.
scribbles belong to Donnie Meatballs. Talk about that. Talk about Somchak. Talk about Talk about the announcer. Talk about the announcer.
Talk about no goals. No 2 minutes.
Talk about 1 goal. And how about the Sabres getting in the penalty box lately? What's up with that?
I don't know what's going on with that either. They are.
I mean, how many power play goals did Tampa Bay score? I think the game-winning goal they scored was on the
Do you
power
even want
play.
to talk about the Sabres power play? Do we even want to talk about that?
No.
I don't think.
You're better off short-handed, putting up a short-handed goal scored by, more than anything else, more than going on the power play.
You know who we need? You know who we need back?
Derek Roy?
Daniel Briere. We need Briere.
We need Derek Waugh.
And Raw.
We also need Drury Chris. I mean, for real.
Number 3205. I mean, but these guys, man, I have a lot of faith in them, but it's just they're making it harder.
I love Alex Tuck.
I love
Tage Thompson.
I love Tuck. I love Thompson. I love
the
team.
forwards.
I love the whole.
I love the defense when we're healthy.
Yeah, healthy.
But Jacob Bryson, please go away. Eric Comrie, please go.
Figure it out. Figure it out. Just figure it out. That's all
Go
you gotta
back
do.
to
Figure it out.
Winnipeg. Because nobody's going to, oh my God, so bad.
I don't. All right.
Bring
move on.
back Ryan Miller.
Miller. All right, Sabres, you took a fat L. Hopefully you guys can
To
figure
the
something
worst
out
team in hockey
on
that literally
Thursday.
plays in a D1 college.
Literally, and still can't get fans. But, hopefully you guys can figure it out Thursday. Probably not, though, but we'll see. Talking about Vegas, I was paying attention to their game a little bit while you were talking about, your stupid Astros. They were tied 3-3 with the Maple Leafs.
Champions.
Yeah, I get it.
World
And,
Series.
They were tied 3-3 with the Maple Leafs, and they actually went into overtime and took the dub against the Maple Leafs in Toronto. So now we have to worry about that. Vegas just took a dub in Toronto in overtime. So that's huge for them. They're number 1 in the league, number 1 in the division. So this is going to be a very tough contest for us. And I'm excited to see what we do. So, I mean...
But also, over the weekend, we dropped from 2nd in the Atlantic to 6th.
Yep. Well, we're also one game behind.
We also have a game behind
teams,
everybody.
I think,
Everybody else has a game in hand, but at least we're not facing against Seattle.
The Crackheads.
We don't need to face against them again because I believe we're actually 0-3 against them in our franchise history.
And, in fact, Trev, another fun fact for the night, the Devils... beating the Flames.
Jersey Devils.
The Jersey Devils beating the Calgary Flames. Flames on the road. Actually, Flames on the road and Flames at home this year. They have not looked like the team that we all thought that they would look like.
How do you beat Calgary? I'm going back to the Sabres again because I just...
How do you beat Calgary?
How do you beat Calgary?
I mean, when we went into Calgary, we went in there like we knew what they had. We knew it was going to be tough. And we got shots to the net, we got pucks deep, and we were forcing bodies to the front, working it to the points and getting shots. So, I mean, I don't know. Devils, they're at home, so, I mean, they could have had a little bit of home ice advantage, but Calgary, some of these games that they're dropping, I don't.
Looking like Dreamweavers out there,
they're
man.
Looking like absolute
Robo, Toybot, Chera Era. I don't even know. Stripey,
no Google Doc, no scribbles, no abandoned factories belong to. The abandoned factories are Arizona.
I'm gonna throw this. No, I'm not, because it's the Astros. If I was wearing a Sabres hat, I would have tossed it across the room. Goodbye. Here, throw that. Come on the set.
There you go.
Okay?
There you go.
No, I already got one.
Okay,
Thanks to my buddy Justin. You can do the honors.
See,
and
Justin is also a
you
big
can do the honors and throw it.
What are you doing?
Oh, there goes the pucks.
Oh,
see you later, Eric Comrie.
See you later.
I don't like
Coyotes came in and turned on the lights.
They turned the lights on. I have to read them now?
Oh, we're supposed to be reading credits. Well, it's not on the screen.
You know what? They should turn the screen on.
Yeah, now they want to keep us rolling. Fine, we'll keep going.
All right, we can keep going.
We got some games
tonight.
LA versus Minnesota.
Until they put the credits up.
Yeah, how are we going to read credits without
All right. I'm just going to read off the Astros roster real quick. I want to say big thanks to Jose Altuve, Alex Bregman, Trey Mancini, Kyle Tucker, Chaz McCormick. I want to say thanks to Dusty Baker. I want to say thanks to everybody on the Phillies that helped lose that game.
Trev, I hear that they're having some problems in the control room, so I think we could go until like 6 in the morning.
I heard we can go.
I think we go till the sunrise.
She's literally writing in. You can't even spell. I'm looking at the script right now. You can't even spell. You're like the Robo Boogie over there. Anyways, who did I miss? Oh, I already said Yuli Gurriel. Did I say Joe Espada? And all the great Astros like Jeff Bagwell and
hopefully
Craig
they
Biggio.
don't forget to turn off the lights.
Read these now. Go. Okay. Let's go to the abandoned factory. Well, she put abandoned factory in there, so that's good. I'm your host, Trevor.
Are you?
Yes.
Okay.
On behalf of my anchors, Brock, Justin, Ethan, and Brent, as well as the executive producer, Sarah, and the technical director, Oza, and the directors, Jenna and Sam, and on audio, Jenna and Sam, and on camera, we got Jonathan, Ethan, and Justin. Thanks for the show, and let's go Astros.
You forgot.
VTR, my sister Lily. Good job. Okay.
Thank you guys for letting us roll for an extra minutes.
Why don't you guys fix the credits?
10:03. We got.
Oh my God! No, you know what? We can just keep going,
we
man.
really could.
We
this is the one time that we could. We read the credits, so you know.